Recording 11. The device is still accelerating. I documented the interval drop at the end of the last recording, below 1 second, reacting to the newspaper and the catalog card together, and I went home immediately after because I didn't know what else to do. I sat with the materials for 2 days and went back through every other time the device has changed its interval, trying to establish a pattern. What I have: the device runs at 4 seconds in the ground floor of 47 Marginal Road under normal conditions. It hit 1 second at the top of the staircase leading to the hidden room. It hit approximately 0.8 to 0.7 seconds when held over the 1923 newspaper and the catalog card respectively. It dropped below 1 second. I couldn't count the interval accurately. It was moving too fast when I was holding both items simultaneously. The device responds to proximity. I've documented that. But the newspaper and the catalog card aren't locations, they're documents, which means either the device is responding to the physical materials themselves, to something applied to them during their time in the archive, or to whatever informational property those documents carry. I don't have a way to distinguish between those possibilities yet. What I do know is this: the interval pattern is directional. The closer the device gets to something significant, the faster it pulses. The grid map in the hidden room showed a notation that's been sitting in my notes since I first copied it. A set of crescent symbols in the lower section of the map pointing south of the building toward the old transit district. I've been avoiding that conclusion because it meant leaving 47 Marginal Road and going somewhere I don't know. But the device kept accelerating. And the catalog card I wrote to myself said, "This is the one about the newspaper." If past me understood something I currently don't, then past me also understood where this investigation was supposed to go next. I'm at the train station. The old municipal terminal, decommissioned in 1971, according to the signage still mounted above the main entrance. I've been here for approximately an hour. I'm recording because I need to document what I've found before I go any deeper into the building. The exterior first. The terminal building is larger than I expected. 4 stories on the street-facing side, dropping to 2 on the platform side where the grade slopes down. The facade is intact, which surprised me. Brick, late Victorian construction, similar materials and period to 47 Marginal Road, though the architectural style is different. The windows are boarded from the inside. The main entrance doors are chained, but the chain is not locked. It's looped through the door handles to create the appearance of a lock without actually functioning as one. Someone has been using this entrance regularly. The crescent symbols. They begin at the street level, cut into the brick itself rather than applied to the surface. The first one is approximately 6 feet up the right pillar of the main entrance, easy to miss unless you're looking for it. Once I found the first, the others were apparent. A sequence leading along the exterior wall to the left, rounding the corner of the building, and descending a ramp to a service entrance on the side street. 7 symbols total on the exterior. Each one has a number below it, cut into the brick. The numbers are not sequential, 3, 1, 4, 1, 5, 9, 2, and I wrote them down without understanding what they mean. I'll come back to that. The service entrance was unlocked. I came in through there. The interior, the main concourse is intact. Benches are still in place along the walls. The ticket windows are shuttered, but structurally present. The old departure boards are frozen mid-rotation with destination names I don't recognize. There's a significant amount of debris. Fallen plaster, scattered paper, broken glass from windows on the upper level, but the floor is clear enough to navigate without difficulty. The device interval when I entered the concourse, approximately 2 seconds. Faster than the ground floor of 47 Marginal Road, slower than the staircase. I noted the direction of the strongest signal by walking the perimeter of the concourse and counting intervals. The signal accelerated most strongly when I moved toward the south end of the building where the platforms are. I followed the signal south. The platforms are below the main concourse level, accessible via a broad staircase on the south wall. The staircase is open, no barriers, no structural damage, just dust and the smell of stale air and rust. I went down. The platforms extend further than I expected. 3 tracks, covered by an iron canopy that's partially collapsed in the center but intact at the far end. The train cars are still present on 2 of the 3 tracks, old rolling stock, the kind that hasn't been in service since the mid-20th century. Doors hanging open, windows intact on most cars. The device interval on the platforms, approximately 1.5 seconds, and still decreasing as I moved further south toward the end of the platform. The signal was coming from somewhere past the end of the platform, which shouldn't be accessible. The tracks terminate at a buffer and the platform ends at a wall. But there's a door in the wall, recessed, not immediately visible because it's set into a section of wall between 2 support columns. No markings except for a single crescent symbol cut into the frame with the number 1 below it. The key 47 doesn't fit this door. I want to document that clearly and without frustration. The keyhole is a different profile, wider, shorter, a different cut geometry entirely. The key I've been carrying since episode 7 is not relevant here. This building uses a different system, or this door does, and whatever opens it, I do not currently possess. The door was already open, not ajar, fully open, swung inward against the wall, recent disturbance. The hinges had been recently oiled. I checked them. Someone opened this door not long before I arrived. Beyond the door, a maintenance corridor running parallel to the tracks, below grade, with utility conduit and pipe runs along both walls. Approximately 60 feet long, the far end opens into a room I need to describe carefully. It's a mechanical room, original station infrastructure, large pumping machinery, electrical switching equipment, ventilation apparatus, all of it non-functional and long decommissioned. The machines range from chest height to ceiling height and are arranged in 2 rows with a central aisle. The floor is concrete, slightly damp in the far corner. The ceiling is low, maybe 8 feet, which makes the room feel compressed relative to the machinery inside it. The device interval in this room, pulsing so fast I can barely count it. Sub-second, approximately what I recorded at the end of the last session. The machines are original to the station, except one. At the far end of the right-hand row, between a ventilation unit and what appears to be a transformer housing, there is a piece of equipment that does not belong to this building. I could tell immediately the construction style is different, the materials are different, and most significantly, it is not fixed to the floor or wall. The other machines in this room are bolted to their positions. This one is freestanding, mounted on a heavy base plate, and could theoretically be moved. The machine is approximately the size of a large wardrobe cabinet, made of a darker metal than the station equipment surrounding it. The front face has a panel with gauges, a series of toggle switches, and a circular dial marked with symbols I recognize from the grid map at 47 Marginal Road. Not crescent symbols, a different set of marks, the ones I never decoded from the map's lower section. They appear here rendered in brass inlay on a dark background. The machine was running. Not at full operation. There was no obvious power source connected to it, no cables running to a wall outlet or conduit box. But it was producing a low, continuous vibration detectable through the floor when I stood next to it, and a faint warmth radiating from the upper section. Something inside it was active. I stood in front of it for several minutes just registering this. The device in my pocket was pulsing at a rate I couldn't count anymore, essentially continuous. The machine and the device are responding to each other, or responding to the same thing. There's a compartment built into the lower section of the machine, a drawer, essentially, with a recessed pull handle. I opened it. Inside, a journal. I need to document the journal carefully because I've only had it for the past hour, and I don't want to overstate what I know and what I don't. The journal is bound in dark cloth, not leather. Approximately 80 pages, roughly half of them filled. The handwriting is not mine, and not the handwriting from the hidden room typewriter. It's a third hand, upright and careful, the letters even and consistent. Someone who wrote frequently and deliberately. The first dated entry is from 1919. The most recent dated entry I've found is from 1931. 12 years of documentation, ending abruptly mid-page with no concluding entry. I've read approximately the first third of the journal carefully, what it contains. The author identifies themselves only by initials. M.O., which I don't need to decode. Martin O'Connor. The man whose ledger entry has been cycling through states since my first recording. The man whose partial name appears on the 1905 typewritten document as responsible for organizing the removal of materials before the 1923 fire. He left a journal and a machine inside a decommissioned train station, and tonight I found it. The early entries, 1919 through 1921, are methodical and careful. They describe a research project he calls intersectional documentation, which seems to involve the systematic recording of locations where, as he writes, temporal registers accumulate and overlap. He doesn't explain this concept as if he's inventing it. He explains it as if he learned it from someone else, referencing a set of protocols he calls the established method, without describing who established it or when. He visited 47 Marginal Road repeatedly during this period. His descriptions of the building match what I know of it. The records room on the ground floor, the staircase, the upper floor with the restricted sections. He doesn't describe the hidden room behind the bookshelf, which either means he didn't find it or he chose not to document it. The 1921 entries shift in tone. He begins referring to effects he hadn't anticipated, gaps in his own notes, entries he's certain he wrote that are no longer present when he returns to earlier pages. He describes the experience carefully, without panic. I am documenting my own documentation in case the documentation fails. This is the method. He understood early that the archive erases as well as preserves. Then a 1922 entry that I need to read directly. I'm reading from the journal now. The entry is dated March 3, 1922. He writes, "The device was not here when I began. It appeared during the third visit. I did not bring it. I have tested it and confirmed its function. It operates on the same principle as the intersectional mechanism but inverted. Where the intersection records, this device revises. It does not add to the record. It removes. Applied to a person, it does not erase the event. It erases the person's encoding of the event. They retain the capacity to remember, but not the memory itself. I have not used it on myself. I do not intend to. Someone placed this device here. I am documenting that I found it and what it does so that whoever comes after me will know." The device found beneath the filing cabinet at 47 Marginal Road can alter memories. O'Connor documented this in 1922. He did not bring it there. It arrived. I was in the middle of reading the 1923 entries when I became aware of someone else in the room. I want to be precise. I didn't hear them enter. I was reading by flashlight at the far end of the room, and when I looked up to change my position, there was a figure standing near the entrance to the maintenance corridor. Not close to me, approximately 30 feet away, in the area near the door I'd come through. Still, silent, not advancing. I held the flashlight on them. Average height, dressed in dark clothing with something over their head and shoulders, a hood, a coat collar, I couldn't determine which in that light, no visible face. They didn't react to the flashlight beam the way a person surprised by a light normally reacts. No flinching, no shielding of eyes, just still. I didn't move toward them. I didn't speak. I held the flashlight and waited. They said 2 words, level. Not threatening in tone, though I don't know how else to interpret the meaning, you shouldn't be here. Then they were gone. Not in the sense of having walked away. I was watching and I did not see them move. The same as the shape in the basement. present and then not present. I stood in that room for approximately 5 minutes after they disappeared before I was confident enough to move. I am back on the platform now, near the staircase, still inside the station, but in a more open space where I can hear if someone approaches from either direction. I have the journal. I need to keep recording while I can. The plaque. I almost missed it on the way out of the mechanical room. It's mounted on the wall beside the door I came through, eye level, a small rectangular brass plate, tarnished but legible. The text reads .0, this kind of overlap. That's all. No attribution. No date. The phrase, this kind of overlap, appears in O'Connor's 1921 entries. It's his term for the intersectional accumulation effect. Someone took his phrase and mounted it on a plaque in this building, at this door, adjacent to the machine he documented. O'Connor brought this machine here, or he found it here. The journal doesn't make clear which, but the plaque uses his language and marks this location as .0, which in his own terminology would mean the most concentrated point of temporal register overlap in this area. This station is not just a location connected to 47 Marginal Road by a crescent symbol on a map. It's a designated site. O'Connor designated it, and someone after him maintained the designation long enough to mount a plaque. The journal has approximately 40 more pages I haven't read. The 1923 entries are where I was when the figure appeared. O'Connor's 1923 entries, written in the same year as the fire, the same year the 1905 document predicted, the same year the newspaper put HTM at the scene. I need to get back to a safe location and read the rest of this before